The highly anticipated debut of Thomas Müller happened on August 17th, gentlemen. Vancouver Whitecaps taking on the Houston Dynamo, and it ended in a 1-1 draw. In fact, Müller scored a goal. It was called back offside. So what do you think spoiled the debut more? The fact that he had a goal called back, or was it the result, Wheels?
The reaction to the goal being called back is hilarious because although it was marginally offside, it was still offside. So if a tree falls in the forest, like, come on. Like, if it's offside, it's offside. So that didn't spoil anyone's day. It would have been nice if he had scored, but it's the drop points for the Vancouver Whitecaps here. Muller mania was in full effect. It was brilliant to see. They welcomed him like he was like the fifth member of the Beatles when he was going into BC Place. It was a scene. It was wild. And the sold-out crowd looked great. The noise, the fanfare, all of that ticked all the boxes, with the one exception. They dropped points yet again. And this is becoming problematic for the Whitecaps. Although it was an occasion to welcome Thomas Müller, every point dropped now matters in their race for the Supporters' Shield and positioning in the Western Conference. And to concede in stoppage time, to drop points again, this team over their last 10 games or 11 games, Andy, is 4-2-5 in MLS play. I mean, that's not standard for one that will go on and actually go on and lift the shield here. And there's some issues in the team. Tristan Blackman left the game with a little bit of a knee issue in the 52nd minute. That could be problematic. They're already in need of a center back. They're already in need of a left back. The transfer window closes on Thursday. The midfield doesn't look the same with Vite not in it. Like they're lacking that player that can drive the team forward and create from a deeper lying midfield position. So I do think that there's some concerns from that. And look, I'm not trying to damper what was otherwise an exceptional occasion because it's something to rally around. It's great to see, but the team right now needs points next weekend at home against St. Louis. That is a must-win game for the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Wheels is right. They got to get the 3 points. They got to get things moving. But the things I loved about that moment in action with Thomas Müller as well is the look on the referee's face when he has to raise the hand and say it is offside. And he's just like, literally like, I'm sorry, friend. I know I'm spoiling the party. Like, that's how likable Müller is as well. Referees don't even want to raise their hand and give him an offside goal. They want to be like, yo, this is your debut. This is your party. You want to go play in the bouncy castle? I want to let you do it. But he was offside, as Will said. I like the squad, though. I love seeing Müller at the end and just even when he's talking in interviews and just that hunger to win. Like at this point in the season where Vancouver Whitecaps, they had such a great start, kind of fell off a bit, going through injuries, certain players getting settled. Now you have someone who's won everything coming into a squad saying, I want to win this. I've never won anything in North America. That will just get everyone where they need to be. I like the Whitecaps. I like their chances moving forward, specifically now because they have Müller and a guy who just will drive the team in training. And all of us know here, it's all about the intangibles, how you work every day. And he has something to prove. 35, but wants to win here in North America. And I love that for them.
Yeah, so, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better debut from that player in particular. You're right, though, when you look at the drop points, you can't really look past that. They're still sitting third in the Western Conference. So the transfer window closes on Thursday. What more do you think Vancouver needs to do, Jordan, here to add to really make a run for this MLS Cup this season?
Well, a couple of things. I got to focus strictly on the back because that's how you win championships, truthfully. And I think this team is set for as long as the past 3 years I've been in the media game with you guys, and it's always been about Vancouver Whitecaps need a big dog. They need a DP. When you look at them on paper, I understand what Wheels is saying about a 10, but a Müller, maybe you're getting called, maybe coming back later on, but a Brian White as well. You're looking at this team. There's some big dogs and some players that can put up points in a big game, but you can't be leaky defensively. That's why they made that run in CONCACAF Champions Cup. You had Veselinovic, you had Blackman. They were so robust. They took care of business. They need a left-footed player who can defend. I don't care if it's a left back. I don't care if it's a left center back that just provides some stability. But look, they're not going to go the distance unless they have someone to fill that role. You know, Axel Schuster, you know how they're really pushing to actually win Supporters Shield and win MLS Cup for this season. Someone's coming for sure. And it doesn't need to be the flashiest player wheels. It just needs to be someone who loves defending, can easily go into that back four. And I even think this is a shout out for Utvik or Halbuni. Like, this is a spot where this team needs. Come in and do the dirty work. Show Jesper Sørensen at training that you're ready to go and fill that role, because really it's going to get to November, December very quickly, and these players need to be ready for that.
Yeah,
They're that close.
I like Halbuni, I like Utvik, but they're not Ranko Veselinovic. Like,
Fair.
you bring in a DP and everyone in the city's talking about him, but you lose a key player. He's played like 200 games for the Whitecaps. He's been a rock at the back, and he was the perfect partner alongside Tristan Blackman. Like, Veselinovic could take the SkyTrain to BC Place and no one would notice, but it doesn't matter because he was one of the most important players in the team. How do you replace that? You know, how much financial clout do the Whitecaps have to add someone for the now? Because Veselinovic is going to be out into next season, and it sounds like they're losing Utvik come January to moving back overseas. So if I'm Axel Schuster and I have any financial flexibility or muscle to flex, I do it now. They need a center back. I know that the easy link is Joel Waterman, and he's being peddled by CF Montreal right now. I think you might even have to do better than that. No disrespect to Waterman. I think you'd be a little bit of a short-term fit, and he could do a little bit of a job. But I think that you got to swing for the fences here. So if you can bring in another stable, robust, like for like, as much as possible to Veselinovic, that is going to be a must. And I still think that perhaps another midfield option is required. You know, someone of the mold of Vite. They brought in Kenji Cabrera. He's not the same player, nowhere close to Vite. And Vite, likewise, Champions Cup, he was incredible. And they just missed that kind of profile of player. So those would be the two positions I'd look at, because there's no guarantee Ryan Gauld's coming back, guys. Clock is ticking. Yeah. Like, every time you hear Sorensen speak, he's like, well, he's training on his own, but we can't move forward until he starts training with the team. So there may be incremental gains, but man, it's almost September now. How much longer are they going to wait?
We'll see what other moves they make. We'll also see how much more Thomas Müller will get acclimated, because they do have 3 MLS matches before the second leg of the Canadian Championship, September 16th. They are tied 2-2 with Forge. And of course, that will decide who will move on to the final of the Canadian Championship, which of course can always all be seen right here on OneSoccer.